is the saddest part of your day when you run out of coffee? Because that is the saddest part of my day. Hi everybody, welcome to the show. Today is episode 137. And I don't have a topic, so maybe this will be a knit and chat episode. I don't know, we'll see what happens. Maybe something will come to me. Sir. Oh, yeah, we can see him. That's Brody. Brody. He's getting time off from his diaper. He has no desire to potty train, so which is like one rule that I had if I was to foster fail with a dog. They had to be completely potty trained, and I've had some great foster dogs that were completely potty trained, and for one reason or another, we never foster failed. We never foster failed on a dog, and I think because I have too high of standards that they would have to be a perfect match, that this would have to be the only home for them, and just everything would have to be perfect. And that's how we never foster failed, because I set like too high of a standard. But then I have like our dog, who was, we got her from the local shelter. Knew nothing about her, just took her home. That's it. Lola was rescued off Craigslist, and Deckard, who's no longer with us, we had lost two of my boys in 2014, and so when the last one went, we waited a while, and then when I felt I was ready for another dog, we decided to get a friend for Rippy. And then I just had Lola. So I just reached out in my local neighborhood Facebook group and said, is anyone looking to rehome a dog? I'm looking for a dog. Just looking here first before I start shelter looking, you know. And his former family sent me a picture, and I saw the picture and I knew he was my dog, and I didn't know anything about him. And that was it, like. But fosters, for some reason, I think if I didn't have like a high standard of foster feeling, I would fail and keep every dog. And none of them would get rescued because I would just keep them all. So I don't really know why I decided on Brody. I don't know why I picked him. I know that the most important thing for me was that we had a dog that liked other animals. Because the reason we didn't just keep my foster I have now is because he hates all the other animals and he bites them in the face. And I was like, I don't want to keep a dog that doesn't want to be here. Like, you have to want to be here to stay here. And if this isn't the right home for you, then I don't want you here. Do you know what I mean? Like, then I look for their perfect home, and I usually find it. And, can I pick you up? Here. Oh, you want to come up. This is Chief Martin Brody. I love you. You're so pretty. He's bigger than I wanted. He's about 7-8 pounds. You need to lose some weight. You're getting a little bit chunky. And the first time that when I walked into, it was a boarding, like a shelter kind of. It was a boarding, like for if you're leaving, if you're going on vacation and you need someone to look after your dogs. It's like a boarding facility. And he was in there just hanging out with the lady. And I walked in with Lola, and he came right over to see Lola. Like, went right past me, went right to Lola, and they touched noses, and they were best friends. And I was like, oh my gosh, look at this cutie. And then I sat on the floor, and he fell asleep in my lap for 2 hours. And I was like, I think this is our dog. I think this is my dog. What do you think? He loves all of the dogs, all of them. But he doesn't want to pee and poop outside. Maybe that's why you were on Facebook Marketplace for free, do you think? Maybe. And he doesn't let me sleep in. It's the worst. He wakes me up in the morning. But as you can see, he's a great dog. So we're doing, when we come inside, and we know he's peed, because we have to keep track, he gets like an hour without his diaper. And we're hoping that will give him some incentive to stop trying to pee everywhere. Okay. My point is, if he was a foster, I would not foster fail him. So I don't know how I ended up with him. Besides he's cute. Oh God, he loves Ripley. Do what, Ripley? He loves her. He's bigger than I wanted. His body is longer. Not at all Chihuahua size. I can't pick him up and hold him like my Chihuahuas. I wish my foster would like everybody, because I'd keep that dog in a second, because he's fine. He just won't stop biting everybody. I just think it's funny. I ended up with a dog I would have never foster failed with. And so I told my husband, I said, we're never getting another dog that isn't one we fostered. Because this dog is all kinds wrong. The only good thing about him is that he loves other dogs. And he really loves other dogs. Like, he grooms them and plays with them and naps with them. And he even chases the cats. It's hilarious. Yeah, you're so cute. And he loves going for walks in the stroller with the foster, who is still here after 2 months. Could you just leave? Okay, what am I wearing? Did I say welcome to my knitting channel? I am wearing my original design that I have named Sinead in honor of the late Sinead O'Connor. What I did, I used Universal Yarns. This chair is killing me. Like, I've never sat on it before. So it's one of the buttons is hitting me right on my butt bone. I had to find a way to sit differently in the chair. So, what was I talking about? Universal Yarns Supreme Cotton Supreme DK in the color mint. I still have not weighed it. Sorry. Should have done that. Have not done that yet. But I did go back. If you recall, I only put 80 rounds in the body, and the gray one I had done 100 rounds, and I thought 100 rounds was too much, and somehow I thought 80 would be the magic number. Is not. It was not. So I put 10 more rows, so I did 90 rows, and when I sit now, it is right at that bend of where your stomach meets your thighs. When you sit, there's like a bend, right? Where your stomach and your thighs. So it sits right there. The other one was curling up at that area. This just sits, it just stops right at that bend, which is exactly where I wanted it to be. So 90 rounds, not 100, not 80, 90. The crossover's perfect, directly under bust. Perfect, 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 perfect. The armholes are right in line with my little crop tops, which is exactly what I wanted. Perfect. I love it. Fits good. It's easy to get on and off the head. I always say I use Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off, and I don't know if that's right. It's the one with the yarn overs in between That bind off. That's that you do for ribbing. And I do that on all my tops that are ribbing. I absolutely love it. It's perfect all the time. That's what I'm wearing. The pattern, if I put it out, now it's an if, it'll be in the spring. It'll be in early spring. I'm still deciding if I want to make one with a sleeve and do a what's the word? Short row sleeve, which I've never done before, but it can't be that hard, right? If you know just how to do it. I don't know, maybe. I haven't decided. I kind of like this as it is, as a summer top, and I'm not sure I want to take it into, I don't know, maybe. I can't decide. So that's what I'm wearing. Should we do whips? I don't have much for you today. It's whips, and that's it. I don't have any finished items. I don't have any squishy mail. I have nothing. Okay, my first whip is another Sinead, which I just told you about. This is, you guys, I've been calling this Naibu because I thought this was a Y. It's a U. It's Nubu. Whatever, don't care. So it's Nubu. I thought it was a Y. Whatever. Maybe don't have, I don't even know if you can get this anymore. Who cares? I don't know. I said that this yarn was terrible to work with. It's super slippery. It's very hard to tension. It's so slippery in your hands. I really don't like it. I think I'll like wearing it because it's real soft and squishy, but I absolutely hate working with it. It's terrible. And I'm wondering if that's like just something that happens a lot with protein fibers. Also, I mean, not protein fibers, the opposite of protein fiber, with cellulose fibers. At least I'm in a good mood today. At least there's that. So anyway, tensioning this yarn. I usually, when I tension, 1, 2, 3, I do 3, and that's enough. And this just goes right through it like it's nothing. And it splits. It is the splittiest yarn. I have to keep, like, I'll do a couple rows and then I have to look, and I already found one that is split that I'm going to have to drop down and fix. And a lot of times I can do it I can fix on the row I'm doing, you know. You just have to pay attention that I find that a lot with cellulose fibers, though, is that apply, like, the spin doesn't stay in the ply very, very much at all. I'm making it tighter. Let's make it looser. And I don't know how many plies this has. Oh my god, it looks like a lot. Like 6, maybe? No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 plies. Oh, 8 plies. That's 8. That is 8. 8 plies that can get messed up. So every time I've done anything on this, I've had to be super careful. Every increase, every join, the cross, when I crossed and you knit and purl, knit or purl 2 stitches together for the cross part, this cross part. Had to be real careful that I had all the plies going the correct way. One wasn't, and I dropped down, and of course it was what I had worked 2 together. But I'm pretty sure I fixed it. So some of them is just the ply just not, I'm not sure it's always wrong or if this one's wrong. This one is wrong. Yeah. You're on both. So I don't recommend this yarn. I think it's, I mean, unless you like really soft yarns that you can't tension and that split. I hate splitty yarn. That's one of the things that will make me not finish a project. I will throw the yarn away. I hate splitty yarn. That's probably why I don't do a lot of, you know, cellulose. I like sticky wool. I like wool that sticks to itself. That's really what I like. But for summer wearables, you can't. And so, I mean, it's just some extra attention. I was going to say, this one has the new, I did make one rights on one side, make one lefts, and then purl one lefts, purl one rights. So, but it looks like you can see here, but you can't see here. So this is the right side, and this is the left side. So this is the left side. So I'm trying to remember what I did on the left side. I just did them too. How come I can't remember? The left. I want to say the left was the right and the right was the left. I'm trying to remember when I was making them. Boom, boom, boom. These were lefts. These were at the front. These were rights. I cannot remember. I'll have to look at the pattern. I don't remember. But you can see this side looks nice. Looks very nice. So you slip one, knit one, and that's your salvage edge. Slip one, knit one. And then the increased is worked. And the same on this side, but this side you start with, okay, so this, you start here and you work over. So then you increase, knit one, slip one. So then this one is you're going the opposite way because you're working on the right side. So you slip one, knit one, then do the increase, then finish the row. And these just don't, I wonder if it's just how I blocked, because if I go like this, it looks fine, right? Maybe it's just how it blocked. I don't care either way, but I was looking at this and trying to see if you could, and they both look terrible. They both look terrible. Both of them look terrible, but I think blocking, I don't even block it very harsh. I just zhuzh it, and lay it. I don't even put it on anything. I just lay it down. But yeah, see, if I put any tension on this, you can't see it. So I could probably block it better and you wouldn't see anything. See, I think just pulling on it did something. And it already looks better. I think it's fine. The thing I do find with cotton is that the blocking doesn't always make all the stitches uniform, which is weird, because in wool it pretty much does. But I find there are different this yarn is very fuzzy and kind of pilly, but I don't care. Like, not enough that I'm bothered by it. And I don't really know how to take care of cotton fibers. Like, you know, I do the eucalyptus for the wools and the alpacas, but I don't know how to, like, I'm not sure that there's something to help cotton fibers stay nice. Do you know if there's something to help condition cotton fibers? I should probably look that up. But if you know of anything, I'd love to hear it, because from my understanding, eucalyptus is a wool wash and soak is not. Soak does not contain any type of lanolin, where eucalyptus does, I believe. But I know soak specifically does not have anything in it, which is why I don't use it for my wools. I don't typically use it because they name their scents weird things instead of just naming it what it is. Like, eucalyptus puts them like lavender, jasmine, grapefruit. Is there another scent I'm forgetting? jasmine, lavender, grapefruit, and unscented. I only use the unscented now. I used to use lavender and jasmine, but the scents got too much for me. So when I finish those up, I just use unscented. But soak has weird names like celebration, and I'm like, I don't know what that smells like. And I have a very sensitive nose, and I am not sure that, I think it also comes in unscented, but it was wildly expensive for not knowing what it does to my fibers. I didn't feel I could justify that. So I got some like underwear, sensitives. What's the name for underwear that I can't think of? Not unmentionables, but some type of it's a garment term for underwear. Why can't I think of what I'm trying to say? Anyway, like lingerie, maybe? What is the word I'm thinking of? It was for cotton underclothes. And I got off Amazon, and I read in the description, it said, people were complaining, it doesn't suds up enough. And I was like, that is perfect. Because I don't want to rinse a lot. I don't want to rinse a lot of suds out. So I use that on my cottons. And that is unscented. It doesn't have a scent. But I don't know that it's doing anything to help the cotton. I don't know if there is anything that does anything to help cotton, is my point. If you know of anything that helps keep cottons, I would love to hear about it. Or others, so like how, I don't know how to care for these that aren't, I know how to care for my wool, but I don't know how to care for cellulose. Doesn't matter. But, I mean, it does matter, but in the long term, doesn't matter. What am I talking? Anyway, that's where we're at. I just joined. It's been maybe 5 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds. So I have 90. We're going for 90. Did I seriously? That just got hung on my nail. Okay, it's okay. 90 rounds for this to be finished. So it's about halfway there right now. And I have plenty. I have a whole full 90-gram ball, and then 12, I think. No, I don't think the 12's, I think that's part of the 50 that I started. I should have plenty of yarn. I'm not worried about it. Okay, my second whip, which was the V-neck top, which with 220 Cascade 220 non-superwash. This. Oh, I already took the needles off. Okay, so this was going to be a V-neck sweater, and remember I told you I'd mathed it all out. Well, my row gauge was off, because this should be ready to separate for sleeves, and it's not. It is not at all ready to separate for sleeves. So so I was also thinking, I feel like this is maybe too tight. I'm not sure. This was a 4 on 4s. So what I did was I found this, which was a witchling made with worsted. So this was the what did I call it? The Witchling by Dragon Horde Designs. This was actually made with Sport or DK. And I could never get gauge. We tried this, was it last year? Whenever it was released. I think maybe last year, the year before. I dyed up Sport specifically. I had gone off what she had said before the pattern was released, and because I wanted to have everything together before. Now this looks huge. So this is that pattern on using, I think, even a smaller needle. What does she call for? Hold on, let me tell you what she calls for, because I'll tell you what I used. This says, oh, now the suggested yard is her Tweed DK. It wasn't when I bought this. It said Sport. It was a Sport weight. So now this says DK. 20 inches and 26 rows is 4 inches in stockinette in the round. Main needle, a US 8, which is 5 millimeters. 5 millimeters on a Sport weight for me was ridiculous. It was so open weave. So this even worsted weight on the 5 was too much. I went down to a 4 because I got gauge on a 4. And now this is looking huge, but maybe it won't when I'm actually wearing it. Right? Because this is going to come down. Because this feels like there's enough room here. It looks down here. You know, how I never know how low to do this. The only thing I hate is the neckline. The neckline gives me the, I don't know what you call, heebie-jeebies. I don't know. I'm not liking it. It feels like it's choking me. There is quite a bit of positive ease here, though, so I probably could have gone down a size, maybe. I don't know. I'm trying these measurements and this row count. I'm just changing the neck to be a V-neck. And I've started it. So I had to work out all the math because her math is different, and she started in the round. She starts in the round with this ribbing, and then just short row shaping on the back, and then just raglan, which looks huge, right? But it doesn't feel huge in my arm. Like, it feels good in my arm, but I feel like going to be a little too big because I can really pull this out here. So maybe I'm a little too, I don't know. Who knows? So I'm worried if it's that big, this guy, if it's that big in this top, it's going to be even bigger on the V-neck. But I liked the feel of this fabric. Okay, so I was saying I like the feel of the fabric. And I do, if I'm trying to, one is superwash and one is non-superwash. And I'm trying to figure out like the difference in, this feels thicker and I'm not sure I want it, but also I can't see through it, and this one is thinner and I can see through it a little bit. I am expecting that as I work on this, which is this, it's going to be too big because it's a V-neck. I'm assuming it's just going to be too bulky, like, because this seems to have so much positive ease. But I guess I could try to count down, because I like, or you know what, I could just measure, right? I could just measure from the neckline down to the hole. the arm. I like where the armhole is at, is what I'm saying. I like where this armhole is at. And that has been my problem forever, is not having the armhole be where I want. I think the sleeves are going to be a little too big, is what I'm worried about. But how am I going to know that until I finish, until I finish the whole thing? And I absolutely hate this because of the neck. The neck grosses me out. For some reason, the neck is just icky for me. However, that seems like way, way big, right? For I would like, I'm kind of glad I did this because I would like this. I would like this. I would like this. I would like to combine these two. So I think I'm going to restart. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure maybe down the back and see how many inches I need for this armhole depth. 'Cause it's really what I like, right, is the armhole depth. But do I take from here because of how it... I don't know. I don't know how to measure it. So maybe I'll keep it. Maybe I'll keep it and then just measure how much I have on here. And then, because I do like this fabric better than this. But I do have enough of this for a full sweater. I have 5 of these, plus an extra one that hasn't been dyed. So I want to make it in this, okay? I've decided I'm making it in this Willow. This is Willow Yarn's Daily Worsted. Whatever their black color is, but I over-dyed it to make it more black because it really wasn't black enough. It's a washed out. I have the undyed one. I have one undyed because it wasn't fully... Okay. You're probably not going to be able to see, but I'm going to show you anyway. Here's the difference. Do you see that difference? How about I don't cover the microphone? Do you see this difference? It's not black. It is a washed out, I mean it's black, but it's very, very washed out black. And if you wear a lot of black, it's not going to look like black. So I overdyed it just to get more black. And I just used Dharma's True Black. It wasn't any big deal. Usually I do 5%. Well, probably I did less because that was already black. So maybe, I don't know. I'm sure I have notes somewhere that I'll put somewhere. So I'm going to combine this. Oh, this is my Knot Knots Frayed Knots. My Maleficent. Love this bag. Love this. This is my sweater bag. Love this bag. So I'm going to combine the two together because I would like this to be, I'd like about 1 to 2 inches of ease. But where that armhole is, I want that armhole depth badly, 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 badly. So since I've actually found it, I think the rest of the sweater is too big though. And then this is obviously too small. So I'm going to combine the two and hopefully we'll make the perfect sweater, but I'm going to do it in the Willow Yarns Daily so that I can put sleeves on it. Also because the burgundy one is Cascade 220. Now I have 4 skeins of Cascade 220 in black, which means I could put some sort of pattern on the bottom. I could do the witchling if I wanted on the bottom. I have burgundy and purple. So I could have plenty of the black, not worry about running out of black, and have enough to do, if I want, I'm not sure I want to. Right now I'm focusing on the Willow Yarns Daily. I'm going to make just a plain black sweater, V-neck. I love to try on things as I go so I get an idea of if it's going to fit when it's done because, especially if I'm using non-superwash, which is my favorite, I know that it's going to relax a little bit when I block it. That I'll get maybe half an inch, depending on the fiber that I'm using, depending on the everything. Depending on everything, which I will probably already know if I've used that yarn before, which I have used Cascade 220 before. I've used Willow Yarns Daily before. Almost all of Lola's sweaters are in Willow Yarns Daily. Not the softest yarn, and it pills, but it's affordable and it's wool. So I'm not going to mind having a sweater out of it. It's perfectly fine being next to Skin Soft for me. It's probably comparable to the 220, but for the fact that it's superwash. And I'm not crazy about superwash. Superwash tends to feel kind of plasticky to me. Sometimes don't like it. Like even all the Malabrigo Rios, it feels like plastic to me sometimes. I just don't like it. And I'm assuming that has to do with whatever descaling thing they do to make the wool superwash, which is not my favorite. I don't have a problem with it being non-super. I really don't. Very rarely do I felt crap, and when I do, it's because I think it's cotton. And I think it's unfeltable, and then I realize, oh my god, there was wool and alpaca in there, you dumbass. Whatever. So anyway, that's my plan right now. I reserve the right to change my mind. I'm going to say that is the end of my knitting content for this week. Just because there's not much to show you. I've been working hard. I got that top done. I've been working on the sweaters. I hope I can work that out, though. You know me and Gage. You know how it's so unreliable. Anyway, I don't want to talk about them while they're outside. I don't think they'll be able to hear me. It's just I know I'm going to talk. See, I've already dropped my voice down. Oh, you want to hear about the other neighbor? The neighbor right here? My neighbor Chuck, that I love so much because we've lived here for 10 years and I've never talked to him. He's never talked to me in the whole time we've lived here. He has never once talked to me. I see him outside sometimes, but I typically only go outside to let the dogs outside. So when I come to let the dogs outside, he usually goes inside. And I thought he didn't like the dogs. And so like I would try to, you know, whatever he was doing, you know, I'll take them out one by one on a leash to the other part of the yard so they don't bother him. But the other day I had the 3 little ones out and he came outside. And I don't know if you remember, but right here along this, okay, so right here, there's a, can you see, you can't see the chain link fence. There's a chain link fence right here between Chuck's yard and our yard, just chain link fence. And there was a whole bunch of bushes and stuff over here. And Ribby, like she had to get staples one time in her shoulder because like they had prickly bushes in it or something. And so twice she had cut herself. And when we found the tumor on her leg, before we knew it was a tumor, the vet said it could have been from that because it had happened twice before. That it could be from her running into something and it just had an infection like in underneath the skin and somehow it was an infection. So we decided finally to pull up everything that was there. It was quite a few feet of just overgrown. We don't take care of the lawn. We don't put stuff, like we cut it. He cuts it. But we don't like do any sort of lands. We kind of let it grow how, I think I've said this before. I like to just let it grow how it wants to grow, and like the trees become overgrown, and it's probably really not safe. But like I don't do any sort of gardening. I don't plant plants. I don't do any of that. I just don't. I could care less. I couldn't care any less. Like just let it do what it's going to do. And I don't really I like being a caretaker of the earth. I don't like there's a bunch of clover and probably crabgrass and other things that I don't know But we have these little white flowers. I think that's clover. And we have these little green or little yellow flowers right now. Little tiny, tiny little yellow ones. And I am the person that will go around the yard and kick the dandelion when they're all white and they go everywhere. I will kick all of them just to spread the seeds. I don't pull them up and blow them. I kick them. I will kick them so it goes everywhere. I hate perfectly manicured lawns. I think it's a waste of everything else you could be doing. So I like to feed the bees and just let whatever's gonna grow and leave it. I don't care. And I like dandelions, so who cares? Anyway, my husband pulled up. I got it in my head that I wanted to pull up. I was going to use like a shovel and everything and dig up these things to keep Rippy safe. And that didn't happen. He went out and did all himself. And then he found poison ivy. And he had poison ivy for like 3 weeks and he complained about it every day. It was hilarious. It was so awesome. Because if you have a chronic illness and you live with someone that doesn't have a chronic illness, like no matter how nice they are about it and how supportive they are, and he is, like to an annoying degree, like when I have bad days and I am just being a you-know-what and I have no patience and I just can't stand anybody near me talking to me, like I just can't anything. He'll be like, I know you're having a hard day. Here's the cookie, you know, and you're like, leave me alone. Like it doesn't matter. And he knows, like he doesn't take, when I'm in a bad, he doesn't take personally. He knows it's because I'm dealing with stuff he doesn't know about. So he really is not the kind of person that is like, oh, what's your problem? You know, like never in our 17 years together, whatever, some insane amount of time. He's never been like, he's not the kind of person that needed to experience having a chronic illness in order to be empathetic or even sympathetic about someone having a chronic illness. And he was like losing his mind. He's like, I can't sleep. My skin itches all the time. And I'm like, I just sat back and was enjoying it for like the whole 3 weeks. So I was like, finally, someone... He's getting a taste of my life. Like him complaining about how he couldn't sleep. I was like, oh my God, I know. Isn't it the worst? It's so awful. And he's like, but I know in like 2 weeks I'm going to be fine. And I'm like, yeah, that must be nice. So anyway, long story. To tell you that Chuck came out and I had the 3 littles and Lola immediately ran over to bark. And she's usually never on a leash just because where's she going to go? She can't get out. She's not very fast. She's old. So I walked over to the fence to get her. And I expected him to run into his house like he does all the time. But he didn't. He was standing there. And I picked Lola up and I'm like, And I was like, oh, well... we got rid of all the bushes so they can see you now. And she just wanted to say hi because I'm thinking he hates our dogs. And that's why he goes in when I take the dogs out. No, guys, he loves dogs. And he goes on to tell me how much he admires me for what I do with rescuing all the dogs. And I got so flustered, I didn't know what to say. And he goes, okay, well, have a great day. And then he walked inside. That's how freaking awkward I am that I couldn't even say, thanks, Chuck. That's a really nice thing to say. I just went, like I'm an idiot. I'm just a complete idiot. Oh my God. The one time in 10 years he talks to me and I act like I don't have any idea what words are. Anyway, I think he goes in to not bother us or so they don't bark at him. I don't know, but I always feel bad about it. New neighbors finally moved in. Well, no, not, I mean, they finally started staying there. They've been moving in for a couple months. So they're finally here. And let me tell you, they have a big, beautiful blue pitty and huge, muscular pitty. Very, very big. Beautiful. Anyway. Hello. Meow, meow. Tormund. Meow, meow, Tormund. Meow, meow. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? Anyway. They had him on he was taking him for a walk the other day. And our dogs were outside. And Ribby started going nuts. Run at the fence at him. And I was like, why don't you go over and, like, talk to him? Like, just tell them their dogs are reactive because the family that lived there never leashed their dogs and they were always rushing the fence and that we're trying to retrain and, apologize for the dog being like that. And so he did. He said the guy was, like, not about, he said, dogs are dogs. They do what they do. It's no big deal. So then, this is hilarious. Later that day, he's got the pitty outside, chained up outside. On a line, not like on a chain, on a line. And I don't know what he was doing. So whenever I see that, I, again, take the dogs out one at a time. Because if anything happens, I want to be able to have everyone under my control. So if I have a dog out on a leash, I know that dog's not going anywhere. I can easily scoop it up, bring it into the house. So my husband and I were letting the dogs out, and he had gone inside. The man had gone inside, and just the dog was out, and I didn't notice that. And Ripley was outside by herself on nothing, because we don't put her on anything usually. And we know she can't jump the fence. She can't get through the fence. Nothing's going to happen. I'm not so sure. I've had dogs get through these little slats here before, and where these two meet right here. There's chicken wire, there's plastic chicken wire there, but I have had dogs, and I don't want to jump this. I can't jump that fence, and I don't like jumping this fence. It's pointy. So it's me, my husband, and Ripley outside, and the other dog's chained up. And Rippy turns, and she kicks, and then she starts running at Patrick. And I saw this dog take off. Like, I saw him real interested in her. He's not interested in the little ones, but her, he's very interested in. And the second she took off, he took off. And I'm like, is that lion going to hold him? No, it did not. And he came right up to the fence, right up at the fence. So there's the two of them barking their feet. Rippy's going nuts. She's foaming at the mouth. She's absolutely terrified. Like she used to be when the other people lived there and their dogs would come over every frickin' day and do this to her. He, though, was not at all aggressive. I'm not sure he even barked, really. He peed on her through the fence. Like twice. It was hilarious. I wasn't even really mad about it, but I immediately had a PTSD trigger from seeing a gray pit bull run across the street at my fence again. And it was just that whole 8 year. I think it was, they lived there 8 years. So I had 8 years of this every frickin' day. Jerks. And I'm like, we just got rid of them. This cannot be something that's going to continue on after 8 years. And they finally leave. And now it's just going to continue. Like, are you kidding me? I was like beside myself, and I was yelling at the guy because him and Patrick exchanged names, so he knew his name. So I'm screaming for this guy that I've never met before that his dog's loose. Come get your dog. And he does, comes over. Because I can't jump the fence, and I don't really want to grab a dog that I don't know if it's friendly or not. And Rippy surely was not going to let me jump over that fence because she was protecting. And I'm like, I was worried the dog was going to start running, because if he runs, it's so dangerous. I've said this before. It's so dangerous. Anyway, he comes over, gets his dog, and he's just apologizing. And I'm like, don't worry about it. Everyone's safe. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Not a problem. It's okay. I don't think he knew the dog was that strong to pull the line. I don't know. But anyway, So I'm like trying to calm down. Rippy and I are both like in our PTSD trauma, right? We're traumatized. We're trying to like calm down. It was hilarious. And I'm like, oh my God, this is not going to keep happening. So then, like 10 minutes later, there's a knock on the door, and it's the woman. And she's come over to apologize. And, I mean, that's already better than the people that were there before, because they never apologized. They never said a word. They wouldn't even come get their dogs. They would not even cross the street to get their dogs. They would just be like, get out of the street, get out of here, and nothing would happen. So like already, it was an unfortunate event, but I'm convinced it's not going to happen again. I saw the dog out one more time, and we were yelling over the fence, and he said, you know, he's secure now. It's okay. I got him. And I said, good. He looks happy. He was rolling around in the yard. And we wave now. But I apologized to her for always ignoring her when we're outside. And I said, I do that because I don't want the dogs to react to you because of all the problems we had before with the people there. We're trying to retrain, and, you know, I'm like, so if I'm ignoring you, that's why, it's so that the dogs don't react. But we wave now. But I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I immediately was like, no. But I don't think it's gonna be an ongoing problem. I don't think it will be. I think it was just a one-time thing. I don't think he knew that his dog was that strong. I knew his dog was that strong, but I don't think he knew. So now, every time they're out or the dog's out, Rippy's barking her face off. So we had her out that day too. Like, we were kind of pushing it because she was doing so well with him and the dog being out that we kind of wanted to, 'cause she does real well with exposure. So we were like, let's expose her to this, get her more comfortable. And he's like, we should have brought her in 5 minutes early. We could have, but we just kept pushing it because it was doing so well. And she's been going on daily walks with him, and he says she gets excited when he starts putting his shoes on. She knows that means that they're going, and she gets all excited. So I'm so happy that she's, you know, I think the grief of losing her companion really hit her. Like, I think she was bothered by that. I didn't know if she would, because they didn't really play anymore, but she still had a big dog backing her up all the time. And because she has anxiety, I think that was important to her, that I don't think she knows she's a big dog, but she knew she had a big dog at her side, you know, if anything happened. So I'm really excited that she's taking walks with my husband, and they go in the morning before it gets hot. And I think it's different. There's not as much activity, I think. And he says she's been doing really good. I think she had a little setback today, but she's been doing so good, even with dogs coming at her and stuff. So again, we're trying to decompress from having another, you know. And he didn't jump up on the fence. He tried to stick his face through. So I think if the littles can get their faces through, and I'm worried about if he came up and a little was there, if they would try to, you know, if he would try to bite them through the fence. I don't know. I didn't get the sense he was aggressive, though. He just peed on her. He looked like he wanted to chase her. He really looked like he just wanted to play. And no, Rippy doesn't. She hates everyone. She's like her mama. I only like my friends. And then I was taking the two littles. Lola does not like to be in the stroller. I think she doesn't like to be in the stroller because she doesn't like the other two dogs. I think if it was one or the other dog, I think she'd be fine. But I don't think she likes going with both dogs. Like, they fight over who gets in the stroller first. And then, like, I'll come back to get her, and I'll be like, Lola, Lola, and she'll look at me, and then she'll run away. So I'm like, okay, she doesn't want to go. So just me and Brody and the foster go on the stroller, and we were walking around, and one of the neighbors came out, and he was like, I didn't realize until just now that there were dogs in there. And he was this big giant guy, and he's like, they're so cute. What kind of dogs are those? And it's always the big, scary looking guys that want to tell me how adorable my dogs are, like every time. And he was like, will they bark at me if I get too close? I'm like, probably. And he was like, do they just hate everybody? I'm like, no, they're really protective because they are protective dogs. And he got a little bit closer. They both started going nuts. And I could tell he just wanted to pick him up and, hug on him. And I felt so bad because I was like, I don't know, this guy, I'm not going to let him pick up my dogs that are barking their faces off at him. But that was, I didn't have a 90-year-old man chasing me down the street for once, which was nice. For once. That only happened one time. But I don't like this neighborhood because I think the people are mean. So, that was nice. I met a nice person in the neighborhood. So, anyway, I should have enough content for you now. So, now I'm overtime. I'm going to have to cut this down. I probably said a lot of crap that I'm going to try to take out. Anyway, next week, I think it's planning September already. I'm going to try to get that done. I have my gallbladder test thing on Monday. So if I can get through, I'm not sure what I have planned for September. I might already have it all planned out, and I'm hoping I do, and I don't have to go through anything, because a lot of it I think is already pre-planned by what I want to get done before, for the fall. Because I only do 3 months. Yeah, there's 4 seasons, 3 months. So we're already down August, September, October, right? And October, we're doing nothing but the knit-along, the mystery, Stephen West mystery knit-along, right, for the shawl. Do I do anything else in October? Really, I don't think I ever do. I think if I recall, last year was all I could do to keep up with, was that Twists and Turns? What was it? Twists and Turns, right? Yeah, that thing. Yeah. So that means we're going to have a dye project in October. Probably at the end of, before October starts. Unless I can use the yarn I dyed for the other, well, it depends, I guess, what he calls. But typically he wants you to do quite a few colors. He always does. Have 8 colors. No, I don't want to. So we'll see. I'm excited for, because next month is September, so he'll start teasing us with it, because usually it starts the first week of October, right? Wasn't it October 4th or 5th that started? So really there's only 2 months in fall. That's this week's show. I don't have any more for you. Come back next week for, what did I just say? Planning September, which I pretty much already told you. I'll see if I can come up with something special to do for that. No, that's the Foster in the bed now. Do you see little tan dog? That's my Foster. Okay, okay, take care of yourselves. I'll see you next week.